Okay, so let's get ready for our Unit 6 test. Question number 1, you can find the strategy for this on page 35. In the problem, they have given you a decimal and they want you to turn it into a fraction. And so on page 35, it tells you how to turn a decimal to a fraction. It says first to say the number with the correct place value. So this is 85 in the hundredths place, so we would say 85 hundredths. You then write that as a fraction over 100 because we said hundredths. And then if you can, which we can in this one, we simplify. Because these end in 5 and 0, we can divide each of them by 5. 5 goes into 85 17 times, and 5 goes into 100 20 times. So this is equivalent to 17 over 20, which was answer choice D. Don't get tricked right here. The tenths place only has one digit in it. So you can have point something with one digit and be in the tenths place. But if it has two digits, that's now in the hundredths place. So there's no such thing as a decimal of 85 tenths. And then on this one, all they've done is taken the 8 and the 5 and put a fraction bar. That's not a strategy. So we know we have to use strategies. And then on this one, you would have divided the top correctly, but you would have messed up on the bottom division because 100 divided by 2 is 50, not 100 divided by 5. Okay, question number 2. This is on the same page as the last one because it's talking about fractions, decimals, and percents. So that's page 35. On this one, they've given you a percent and they want you to turn it to a decimal. So percent to decimal. And on page 35, it tells you that you do that by moving the decimal point 2 times to the left. We don't have a decimal point here, so no decimal in sight, put it on the right. Then you're able to move it 2 times to the left, which is going to give you 28 hundredths, or 0.28. Question number 3 is found on page 36, comparing and ordering rational numbers. We're doing least to greatest on this problem. And the easiest way to do that is to make them all look like money. So I like to go from easiest to hardest. Sue is easy because I can add a 0. That's $1.40. Mike is easy because I can add a 0. That's negative $2. Tom is technically the easiest. We didn't have to do anything there. $1.95. Now 1/2 is a benchmark that we're supposed to know. Half of a dollar is 50 cents. And then 1/4 of a dollar or 1/4 of a dollar is 25 cents. So this would be negative $1.25. So if we're starting least to greatest, we're definitely going to be starting in the negative. And if you were to think about a number line, the number that would be furthest to the left on the number line would be negative 2. So Mike would be first. And then there's only one other negative, so Anna would have to come next. As we're moving toward the 0, we're getting bigger, and then so now we would be passing over the 0 on our imaginary number line. We would get to 50 cents first, so John would come after Anna. We would keep going and we would get to $1.40, so Sue is next. And then the furthest one over to the right would be $1.95, so Tom would have the greatest number here. Question number 4 is similar, except we're using a number line this time. So this is also found on page 36. We're also going to make these look like money, but I want to go ahead and add to this number line here. So there are 10 sections in between 24 and 25. So each one is 0.1 or 10 cents if we're thinking about money. So this would be $24. This is $24.10. 20 cents, 30 cents, 40 cents, 50 cents would be right in the middle, then 60 cents, 70 cents, 80 cents, 90 cents, and then you would get to $25. So doing that ahead of time is going to help us when it comes time to put these on the number line. So I'm going to start with this one right here. This already looks like money, so I don't have to do anything there. It would be $24.08. The next easiest one is right here. I could just add a 0 there, and I've got $24.20. I would think the next easiest one would be this one right here, because we know half of a dollar is 50 cents, so this is going to be $24.50. And then the next one, or the last one, you could do Tybo on 4/5, top in, bottom out, or remember your fifths are like your fingers, 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8. So 4/5 is 4 fingers. So 24.8, or if you add a 0 on the end, $24.80. A lot of these are already on our number line. So 24.50 we already had there. So that's 24.5. 24.20 is already there, so 24.2. And 24.80 is already there, so that was 24 4/5. The only one that's not already marked on our number line is $24.08. So that's going to be right before the 10-cent mark, right? So we have $24.08. Okay, so the question at the bottom says, which number is closest to 25? So the one that we put closest to the 25 is 24 4/5. Okay, let's move to the back of our review. This one says, what percent of the model is shaded? And you can find this on page 34. There's actually a very, very similar problem on page 34. And we've got 22 squares shaded. Don't be tricked by this answer of 22%, because percent is out of 100. So that would be 22 out of 100. There's not 100 squares right here. There's only 40 squares. So this is 22 out of 40. We could make it equal something over 100, but there's nothing I can multiply 40 by to get 100. So I'm going to start by simplifying. Both of these are even numbers, so I can divide by 2. That's going to give me 11 over 20. Now that I have 20, I can multiply 20 by something to get 100. So you could divide at that point. You could do top in, bottom out, but I'm just going to make it equal something over 100. 20 times 5 is 100, so we can do 11 times 5, which gives us 55, or 55%. Something else to notice is that the halfway mark would be 50%. So this over here is 50% shaded. We know we have a little bit more than 50% shaded, so our answer should be more than 50%. All the other answers here are less than 50%, so they couldn't even be right even if we wanted them to be. Okay, question number 6. We're putting some more rational numbers in order, so that's going to be on page 36. This time, they are all decimals except for 1. Remember, no decimal in sight, put it on the right. So let's make these look like money just to kind of help us. We're in the habit of doing that anyway. This is not talking about money, but again, our brains like money. And this one is supposed to go warmest to coldest. So warmest is going to be your greatest number. Coldest is going to be your least number. So we have positives and negatives here. And if you're talking about which one's bigger, it's always going to be positives. So we know either Denver or Minneapolis has to come first, but 4 holes is bigger than 3.4. So Minneapolis is going to have the highest temperature, followed by Denver, because it's the only other positive one. Now again, think about your number line. If you're passing over the 0 into negative land, remember it's opposite over there, opposite world. So what you would come to first is negative 0.2. So Anchorage has the warmest temperature out of the negatives. Then as you travel left on that number line, you'd come to Albany. And then negative 2.5, or Milwaukee, that's going to be furthest to the left. Don't forget least is on the left. So that would be our order. Question 7 is on page 35. They have given us a fraction and they want it as a percent. So we're turning a fraction into a percent. And on page 35, it tells you to do that, you want to make it equal something over 100 if you can. And in this case, we can. There is something that we can multiply 25 by. It's going to give us 100, and that's going to be times 4. And if we do that, we would do times 4 on the top. So I don't know 18 times 4 off the top of my head, so I just come over to the side. 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. So that gives me 72, and 72 over 100 is 72%. Okay, we are almost done. One more problem. Which answer choice represents the amount shaded? So this is on page 34. There are 100 squares altogether on this grid, and 40 of them are shaded. So we've got 40 shaded out of 100. You'll notice that none of the fractions say 40 out of 100, but this can be simplified. These end in zeros, they can be divided by 10. That's going to give me 4/10. Now, unfortunately, those are all correct. They all say 4/10. So that doesn't get rid of any answer choices. But remember, 4/10 is going to be 4 in the tenths place of the decimals. So I'm going to underline all the tenths place. So this one does have 4 in the tenths place. This one has 0 in the tenths place. It actually has 4 in the hundredths place. So that's not 4/10 or 40 hundredths. That's 4 hundredths, which is definitely not going to be our answer. This one doesn't have 4 in the tenths place. It actually has 4 in the ones place. So that would be 4 wholes, not 4/10. But this one does have 4 in the tenths place. So we're down to answer choice A or answer choice D. Okay, so originally we said it was 40 out of 100. Remember, percent means out of 100. So 40 out of 100 is 40%, which that one has. This one we already got rid of, but it does have 4%, which is definitely not the same as 40%. So we want to get rid of that one. And then 400%, obviously not the same as 40%, but we already got rid of that answer choice. And then again, this one has 4%, not 40%. So just so we are on the same page, 4% would look like 4 of these shaded, because 4 out of 100. Same thing with this decimal number of 400. That's going to be 4 out of 100. And then 400%, 100% is this entire grid shaded. So 400% would have to be 4 entire grids shaded. Same thing, if I shaded this whole thing, that's 1 hole. So 4 holes would be 4 of those entire grids shaded. So the only one that shows that amount on all 3 types of numbers is answer choice A. I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you do great on your test.